Welcome everyone to this edition of the Regal Life series, where we enable coaches to become the best coaches that they can be. Today, I have the privilege to host Jaikrishna B, whom we lovingly call JK, who is the CHRO of Amara Raja Group. He's the group CHRO. He's an inspiration to all of us, and his career is one that ticks many check boxes that many leaders have. So the topic that he would be discussing with us today is why did a CHRO choose to upskill with an ICF credential? Thank you, JK, for accepting our invitation to appear on our live today.
At the outset, Anirud, thank you so much for getting me over here, inviting me for this. I'm very deeply thankful to Regal Unlimited, starting with Chief Mentor Subhash, my close mentor Mani, you, everyone at Regal Unlimited who have been, I would say, who was the kind of wind under my wings to lift me up. Thank you so much for that, and I will ever be grateful in life for that. So thank you for getting me here. So to your question, I would say, I was reflecting when you said you should talk about, why a CHRO decided to upskill. Truly speaking, Anirudh, these titles are just temporary. It's like you wearing a cap. Cap doesn't matter. It's the person underneath matters, right? So it was more JK as a person that I looked at it, more about my curiosity to understand, a lot more of coaching rather than what I was possibly going through as assumptions in life. Coaching and mentoring before the formal learning, I have used it, both ways, very conveniently. While we did know the difference to some extent, but I would say, sorry, I might bring some metaphors. I'm a little, Anirudh, I'm a little sometimes on metaphor, depending on what comes up. So to me, I fortunately, given the profession that I am in, I had the opportunity to do a lot of coaching, mentoring sessions. But then I wanted to sort of challenge myself and be sure that I was doing it correctly, and do I have a formal education? All the more when coaching became much more prevalent in terms of formal course and coaching and all that. Then I decided, why not undertake that and get deeper. And the fact is that I joined the course thinking that it's like sharpening the saw. It, but let me just go and understand, take formal learning and things like that. Exactly, it was all assumptions, is what it turned out to be. So it was not sharpening the saw. I came through a completely different tool itself. I won't even say it was a saw or a knife. It was completely different. So just imagine what you had made assumptions about. It made me also think a lot, reflect a lot more. So the very purpose of why I did it was to challenge myself, my knowledge and my assumption that I know something about. I would even go one step forward. I remember, I think last week or the week before, and there was the session with Dr. Veronica and Mani. Very true of what was said in that session. The recognition to me was that I don't know anything, or rather you have become in that state today, and the hero is the client, the coachee is the hero. So it's a wonderful learning path, and therefore the decision is, it's not about what you are as a title that you have. You are in a people profession. You need to know a lot more about what does it mean as people, their emotions, their thinking, their feelings, and you should be able to make meaningful connections a lot more than what you think you already have. That was the purpose, I would say, as to why I decided to go and upskill. I still would say I have not upskilled. It's a continuous learning still. And long answer, sorry.
No, please. It didn't feel long to me. You have a fine way with words, Jake. Uh,
Yeah.
So before we go deeper into this topic, could you just reflect briefly on your journey towards becoming Group CHRO? What was it like?
Right. Oh, yeah. In many ways, I'm privileged, I would say, very humble about the kind of journey that I've had. I was a very average student, and if I go a little more backwards to say, possibly uh, till my +2, and my dad wanted me to be a scientist engineer like the way he was. His elder son was anyway doing engineering by then, which
Hmm.
is my brother, and he was hopeful that I would also do, but I had never an inclination to physics or to say mathematics or chemistry, the science subjects. My inclination was on a lot of other things, and I would say parents were a little scared of me as to what will this guy end up. I used to do a lot of drama, mono act, mimicry, fancy dress, dance, whatnot. So all that was my excelling areas, and a little amount of student politics as well, being
Wow.
in arts club. So all that was my kind of a passion, and it was only that I realized that I had disappointed him in not getting into engineering, and that was my turning point in a way. And after that, from graduation, I excelled, both in arts and studies, I would say. So that was a great journey. And so also in post-graduation, I came to Chennai. I realized the fact that, people management is my forte. I sort of realized, interacting with people, building relationship was something that used to really bring in my adrenaline. Meeting strangers, getting into conversations was something that I would love to. And be it in the bus journeys that I used to do or in the train journeys that I used to have in my student days. So I really enjoyed that. So somewhere there was this calling, something around people I should. And of course, I got a lot of good advice. And then I came to Chennai, which was then the Madras School of Social Work, which is pretty good in terms of bringing you up from a social impact perspective. And I think that college really helped me to sort of, make me far more empathetic and far more humble. And I think that's pretty true of the whole class as I see the students out of that institution. So that really helped me. And we had a campus recruitment, fortunately, in that year. Those days, campus recruitment is pretty rare. But
Hmm.
fortunately, we had 𝘲𝗲𝗃𝗲 group coming in. I don't know what happened. They picked me up. so, uh, so from there, I moved on. My initial life was more about baptism in fire. As soon as I joined, I was first had that induction in corporate, and in 7 to 10 days, I was moved to the factory, a very, very rural factory called 𝘰𝘵𝘃𝗃𝗏. It was a sugar factory. I went there as a management trainee, and I really got disappointed in 2 months because we had a strike. But
Hmm.
that disappointment, when I look back today, I feel it's a blessing in disguise. Who will get that opportunity to,
Right.
a management trainee personnel, those days called, is able to witness a strike. And, I was a small fry. I was what, third or fourth in command in the system of chain under the personnel head itself. But why I say baptism in fire, I had tremendous opportunities of risk taking then itself. Had the opportunity to actually get 𝘲𝗏𝗏 as a
Oh,
management training. The
wow.
management wanted to really prove the High Court order where we got an injunction in our favor. The striking people were actually not allowing the goods to come in, and we had a critical furnace oil tanker to move in. And
Hmm.
we decided fine. So I joined along with the driver in the front seat, and they actually 𝘲𝗏𝗏 me, pulled me down. Those was great experiences. But with all due respect by the striking workmen, they are also good friends that I've made in 2-3 months time by then. Tremendous learning, 90 days of strike, we never budged. That taught me what does it mean to be assertive as well. A lot of learning. So from there, I think that kind of a learning really helped in terms of growth, what you could do, contribute. A lot of unlearning as I made great goof ups. And I tell you, the management was extremely supportive despite all those goof ups that I have made. One large goof up I made, that's a separate story, but a tremendous learning. So that really helped me. And the way I possibly dealt with those also was very, very enriching. And that moved on. So the initial years were completely industrial relations, walking the shop floor, running manufacturing operations. Even had subsequently the opportunity to become the corporate trainer for the whole company. Then I went on to manage multiple factories on industrial relations. I had to close 2 of the factories. That was something that was required. Retrench people, deal with those emotions, go up to the high court, meet with lawyers of great eminence. I remember, these were all things that happened in my first 9-10 years. It should be tremendous gratitude that you should have to some power that gave you those experiences. And I think I then moved on from a management trainee. I moved on to become the head of HR of the food business then the 𝘲𝗃𝗃 Group had, which was the Paris confectionery. So that's where it was. Yeah. Paris chocolate is something that all of us remember very dearly. Of course, we had put that business on to block. And then, I was sort of lucky enough to even be in those, discussions and challenging situations of keeping the tempo of the company and all its employees, right from operators to the sales force to the people in the corporate, maintain that tempo and ensure that we were giving the company to a safe hands. That was a good transition process. And of course, there was subsequently a lot of pressure on me. I thanks the promoters of the 𝘲𝗃𝗃 Group, especially Mr. M.M. Who was one of my closest, I would say, very dearest leader in terms of how he mentored, and various others, Nanda, 𝘁𝗵𝘃𝗃, Rambabu. These are great names who actually took me and nurtured me like a child, and great colleagues. And when I start naming, so and then I had this opportunity to sort of challenge again. That was also another situation of challenging myself. While there was a lot of pressure to stay back in the group, I went on to take up another assignment, which was again a group HR role. The earlier was purely within the company. Of course, there were opportunities to be at the group role, and I always admired how the group role was being played in the 𝘲𝗃𝗃 Group. And then came the opportunity to do group role, second in command, third in command in the 𝘁𝗵𝗃𝗃 Group. And that was a short stay, I would say, hardly for 24 months. In 23 months or not, I stayed there. So that was a great work of, balanced scorecard deployment across the 𝘁𝗵𝗃𝗃 Group, across all businesses, be it Birlasoft to Orient Cements to Orient Electricals to then Hyderabad Industries, needless to mention the then Hindustan Motors. That was, I'm rubbing shoulders with CEOs at an young age, and that was also pretty challenging work. Of course, then came the opportunity. In fact, the opportunity to work in Amara Raja Group was there prior to joining 𝘁𝗵𝗃𝗃 Group. I didn't take up the offer then. I was more inclined to the other group, which is a little more larger as well. But then, the current chairman, Jaikrishna, was constantly in touch with me, and he said, why not you come and join? And, we had a very good non-committal kind of a discussion. And then I took up the role here, and that was since 2005. Extremely humble and feel a lot of gratitude in terms of being part of the growth journey. And so for the last 18 years, been here in Amara Raja Group.
Oh, JK. And I remember when you had addressed the NHRD chapter in Bangalore,
Right.
the company-wide exercise that you had to ensure
Living the
the
Amara Raja way. Yeah, yeah.
living the
That's
Amara way,
that's true.
and
That's
how
our core values. Yes.
and the dress code and the
Oh, the
quad,
uniforms. Yeah,
yeah, the uniforms, the half yearly retreats, and how you ensured that
yeah.
the values percolate throughout.
Very much. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's true. Yeah, very
So,
humble.
JK,
Yeah,
as we scale up, typically it is very easy to become complacent as we rise in the corporate ladder. You did mention that you did take up ICF coaching education because you wanted to challenge yourself. But more than that, how did the rigor of the journey and the credential in itself enhance your leadership style and your conversations with your team?
sure. See, uh, under the like I said, I joined the course with a lot of assumptions, and as I went through the course, I realized my assumptions were real assumptions itself. And the fact that like I said, I thought I'm going to join and sharpen the knife, but actually it was completely not a knife at all. It's a different instrument altogether, or an experience. It was a transformative experience, I would say. To your question, I would say that you wanted to know as to why did I do the ICF credential as a CHR?
Yes, beyond challenging, and how did it help you in your day-to-day
Oh, yeah,
leadership?
yeah. So I think one was the role as a leader. When you say today, you could be, at wherever stage of the hierarchy you may be, you are a leader in one way or other. The day that you are cross the individual contributor and you start managing people, and that is where, in my belief, the quest for learning has to enhance. Now that is where you get really accelerated in terms of what to say, to know a lot more. That thirsty feeling should come a lot more, because you are going to start dealing with different types of people, and there is no one size approach that you can do, and each person has a different need, a different want. You have a different need and a different want, and therefore it's extremely important that you understand the needs and the wants, and build people based on their strengths.
Hmm.
And that way, coaching is a great example. I would really look back to my life. Nobody managed me, people coached me. And therefore I have always realized the power of coaching. And when I joined this course, like I said, it was not, I always thought it was a little about what is the classic mentoring, but not so. And that's what, when I reflect back, I realized was some of my best leaders that I've had, they only coached me. They never gave me solutions. They asked me the right questions. They sort of said, they never, I would say, when I recollect, I realized that it was never about instructions. So I remember some of my best bosses, I just couldn't walk to them saying, this is the problem, what should I do? The best bosses, if I recall, 2 3 of them comes to my mind as pictures. They said, tell me, what are your options, what are your solutions? And I realized that's the approach that is. And the more we do that, not just with our team members, even with our peers, even with our bosses, the best comes out when you take a coaching approach. To that extent, I had this deep belief, and this blend of mentoring and coaching was what I had as an assumption. At some points, I as a coach will have to give advice. That was
Hmm.
completely taken off from my assumptions list. Now I am no more walking in that fog. I'm walking with absolute clarity, and every step is like a great contentment after this course. So coaching that way has, I would say, had made me a much better person. and therefore a much better leader, much better human being. I only regret that I should have started this little longer ago. The formal part of doing it. That is what I would say, Anirudh.
So if I may also tie into Maslow's hierarchy of needs, you brilliantly brought in self-actualization as well.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I don't know. I mean, the self-actualization to me in the Maslow's thing is something that you will never reach, is my belief, my personal belief.
Right.
Once you feel it is reached, then, I mean, the quest is still there. Even today afternoon, I'm looking at what should be something else that we should learn. That should be and then, if you can reflect that way, that will be great. Of course, it is challenging sometimes in terms of managing time. You got to show justice at work. You got to show justice at home, family. And you got to show justice to your own personal self about treating yourself once a while. And then you need to find time for this continuous learning. So, yeah, it is challenging, but it is definitely worth it when you sort of accomplish that. And then you want to learn a lot more like that.
So, JK, given the responsibility that is on your shoulders, right? As a coach, when you're donning the hat of the coach at that point of time, how there's always a shortage of time, your precious time to be available, and also this coaching space where you need to be present without giving solutions. So, how do you manage that constant nagging of time and while maintaining presence in a real life office situation?
Yeah. See, one thing when I recognize along with somebody else, when I sit on a coaching session, I am very upfront saying, please understand the role of a coach. Many people like me would be in that assumption, okay, I'm sitting with somebody who, will, like a Swamiyar, will give me some wisdom. Not that at all, right? It's no. So upfront, clarify, and tell. So then you are at an equal platform. And then the person, the client, the coachee, the friend who is with you will definitely recognize the fact that this person is going to only take it out of me, and not that he is going to give me advice. There are some people who may not like it. Then I would say, then fine, then let's not do a coaching, let's do mentoring, and whatever I can, we can sort of discuss together. But people, the fact is, Anirudh, it's a very short circuit mentoring. It will help you for the time being, but it's like a temporary wire doing. Now, if you got to really be permanent, I share this also as a metaphor to people, saying that if you want a great solution and you want to really find the beauty of yourself, get into coaching. Let's do a coaching discussion. So where then the constraint of time is absolutely not there with the other person and then me. I mean, first is to give the importance to the person who has sought time with you. And therefore, if you can make that person, that coachee who's sitting in front of you, understand that, and then there is no pressure of time. The discussion will go only that way. And there is no hurry here. You can sit again. So, I think it's like a meditation. You are a little more calmer. You are not in a situation to quickly give something off. You are actually making the person come out with her or his solutions. So no constraint of time.
That is brilliant. Giving priority to the client in that time.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's extremely. But like I said, the client is the hero. Yeah. And in fact, I would even, to rhyme it, say, coach is a hero. Just sit like that only. Right?
Yes.
You got to sit like that. And sometimes you take out so much of learning out of the person who's sitting with you. And sometimes you don't even know what is this gratitude being given to you at the end of the session. I mean, it's a very humbling experience. And for all who have not experienced, I would really say it's not humbling. It's really transformative. Really, you can talk from that caterpillar to butterfly experiences. What I went through the formal coaching course. It was not just that Mani was just teaching or Subhash was just teaching. It's an immersive, transformative experience. And I clearly felt that caterpillar to butterfly. Now you are no more crawling, you're soaring, you're flying. And it has to be experienced. I'm not making a selling for coaching, but I'm all saying that don't miss that experience. Don't be late on it. Enjoy life a lot more.
So, JK, 20 minutes is clearly not enough to do justice to what you have to share with us. As your closing remarks, I would ask you to leave us with one piece of advice for CHROs and senior HR leaders on getting ICF credentialed.
One piece of advice. I think stay curious. No title or no position of life is what is the real life. Life is a learning journey. It's like a highway, and you keep experiencing various things, and it never ends. So I would say stay curious, have a hunger for learning, and coaching is one of the best methods that I would say as on today in my life to really know a lot more, learn a lot more about people, relationships, and the impact that you can make. And therefore, I would say, if you have to inspire others first you have to inspire yourself. That's it.
Well, that's brilliant. You have to inspire others first, you have to inspire yourself. That's so true. Thank you for that, JK. I think this is a great place. There's a food for thought for me as well as I'm sure the viewers would also remember this line, ring with them for quite some time. I would like to extend my gratitude to you for taking your time
Thank
out
you so much.
on a holiday to spend time with us. I would
It
like
was
to
it
invite you
was
soon.
it was nice to do it on an Independence Day, and I find a lot of relation of coaching and Independence Day. I, in fact, thought about it and wrote today also about that. Yeah, and I want to take one more moment to express my deep gratitude, Anirudh, to you, Subhash, Mani has been a continuously available mentor for me, my peer coaches, and all that who are still, whom I am coaching and I am learning from them as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you, JK. We hope to host you soon again. Dear viewers, I'm sure you would definitely you would have found a lot of value today. See you again next Thursday at 9 p.m. Indian Standard Time. I'm wishing you
Thank
all
you
a
so much.
happy Independence Day. Thanks.